Namaskar. Welcome to Global Governance News TV. I'm Kumar Rakesh. We'll discuss today the Corona G7 Summit 2021 and India. How this Corona is already discussed. The G7 comprises. The G7 comprises the US, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Canada, and Japan. The UK currently holds the presidency and invited India, along with Australia, South Korea, South Africa, as guest countries for the summit, which will witness a hybrid of physical and virtual participation. The theme was Building Back Better Health, and the UK has outlined the priority areas for its presidency, leading the global recovery from coronavirus while strengthening resilience against future pandemics, promoting future prosperity by championing free and fair trade, tackling climate change and preserving the planet's biodiversity, and championing shared values and open societies. The leaders discussed well with the all agenda and the China, the raised eyebrow, just reacted negatively to the summit, accusing the group of the meddling lies and the false accusation, and denounced the group's support for the Hong Kong movement and the Muslims in the Xinjiang region, where human rights abuses allegedly occurred. The Chinese embassy in the UK filed a formal complaint and also denounced reports of investigation of COVID-19 origins as baseless. What China should do, China did it, expected. And agenda was very clear, and all the premiers present in this summit. And the agenda was very clear. The Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, host country, called for the global approach to pandemics to ensure the equal global distribution of COVID-19 vaccines and to prevent future pandemics. Mr. Boris also proposed a five-point plan to prevent the future pandemics, which includes a worldwide network of genetic research hubs, developing global manufacturing capacity for treatments and vaccines, the design of the global early warning system, the agreement of global protocols for a future health emergency, and reduction of the trade barriers. The seven countries agreed to place 1 billion vaccines to others country also, all the country participated in that, and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he just also just present virtually, and he expressed their appreciation for the support extended by the G7 and other guest countries during the recent wave of COVID infections in India. He highlighted he highlighted the India's whole society approach to fight the pandemic, synchronizing the efforts of the all level of the government, industry, and civil society. Prime Minister Modi also explained the India's successful use of open source digital tools for the contact tracing and vaccine management, and conveyed India's willingness to share its experiences and expertise with other developing countries. So I already discussed so many issues, and we are here just to discuss all the issues. And so I welcome Lord Ravi Ranger, the host country for UK for this G7 summit. I just was waiting for you. So nice you're present here. So yeah, I'll just start the discussion. Lord Remy Ranger is no need to introduction. He's a very popular Lord and human being. He's today itself he just claims he is a truly Indian, running so many societies, a very long story. So I think if you properly give the introduction of Lord Rami Ranger, it will take minimum 20 minutes. What he has done for the country and he has been doing for the UK and all that socially and globally. So I start the intake from the Lord Rami Rangers, how just started the G7 summit and Corona, and how the role of India and UK. Lord Rami Ranger.
Kumar Saab, thank you very much for inviting me to this important meeting, and I'm so glad that I'm taking part in one of the best discussion. First of all, it was a matter of pride for India that Modi ji was invited to attend, although he could not come, but he had a virtual meeting with the leaders. So Mr. Modi is respected throughout the world as a visionary statesman, someone who has passion for development, economic development, innovation, technology. So we are very proud and privileged to have a prime minister who is now considered as a global leader. So that's number one. So we were very fortunate that we took part in there, and we are working that India should be made a permanent member of the G7 or G8 or G10, because the Indian economy is now bigger than all those G7, many of the G7 members. So that is a travesty of justice that if you do not include India, and on top of India's economy, India represents 1.3 billion people. That's a huge population, and because the world depends on India's doctors, engineers, scientists, all the blue chip companies are run by Indians. So India is playing a very positive role in the world and making the world as we see it today. So coming back to this pandemic, as you know, this pandemic, we are one of the countries which have developed a vaccine, and that vaccine will be ideal for the developing country who cannot afford the Americans or the German or the Belgium-made vaccine because of the cost. So the India will be the friend of the developing country for poorer countries as a symbol of hope for this. And in this pandemic, no one is safe unless everyone is safe, because it's not by having just one country protected against COVID and the rest are suffering is not going to defeat the pandemic. So we have to work together, and a world problem has to be a solution by the world leaders. And most importantly, we are very fortunate that India's pharmaceutical company is well placed to take on the next challenge of developing cheaper medicine, cheaper vaccine, and in a scale which the world needs, because that is our another plus factor. So I will now urge because the economic development depends on the health of the nation, and the greatest asset of a nation is not the land, is not the anything else. The greatest asset is the people. People make the country what the country is today. So therefore, we have to empower our citizens. We have to empower our women. We have to make sure our children are given the best education so that they can be at the cutting edge of technology, competing with the best in the world. We just have to look globally. We just cannot look in isolation. Luckily, our philosophy teaches us Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that for us, the world is a global village. From the very beginning, we are taught to look at the humanity as a whole. We are not an inward-looking community. We look outward, and we want to have solutions which are for the entire humanity. For that, therefore, we need to now, Mr. Kumar, we have to make sure our pharmaceutical companies are given, although the government has given a lot of support to the pharmaceutical company, but we need to develop even faster, because the world is going to depend on medicine more and more because of the way things are, because people are living longer and they will need medicine to prolong their life. This is a good uh, news that people now can live longer because of the medicine we have. So therefore, we have to produce medicine to meet up with the demand. And these some of the medicines are very, very expensive in the West, and poor people are dying because they have no access to those medicines. So therefore, India is a beacon of hope for all these people who cannot afford to buy American or European medicine to save themselves or their family. So therefore, India has a very big responsibility as a mature, stable democracy where rule of law is the heart of governance, where everyone is equal. We have a rule of law where everyone citizen is equal, regardless of race, religion, color, agenda. We are so fortunate that we are a secular democratic country where everyone has rights enshrined in the constitution. So therefore, we are very proud being Indian. We are playing a very important role, and the world cannot fight this COVID pandemic without the help of a great nation like India and the pharmaceutical company of India. plugging into the supply chain of the vaccine. So therefore, we need to. I will also ask you, Mr. Kumar, if we can get a list of products which we import from China, and we
Okay.
should circulate those
Yeah.
lists of product which they are. We're not buying high tech product from China. We're just buying candle, toys, patakas, just crackers, all these, decoration pieces, all these. They are not very high tech. Indians who have landed on Mars and Moon, they can make anything they want. They can make, spacecraft. They can make all these. But because we think it's cheaper, cheap is
Yeah.
not always cheap. All we're doing is we're exporting job to China and we're making rod for our own back. China is friend of nobody. If you want to have a relationship with any country, you have to see how they treat their citizen. You see the way they're treating Uyghur Muslim. It's a disgrace. It's a genocide they're committing. So I do not trust Chinese one bit. I don't think we should ever be dependent on China. Their track record is very poor, very bad. We have learned a lesson in 1962, and even now in Galwan, they are. It is only because of Mr. Modi's strong leadership that they are now venturing. The minute you have a weak leader in India, I challenge you today, China will be knocking on your door because they are expansionist government, and Xi Jinping, the president, the current one, has got ambition. He has upset not only India, he has upset Japan, he's upset Philippines, he's upset uh, so many countries in the South China Sea where they claim. So therefore, we have to learn from the past to make our future. So I will urge people like you, all of you, please, please encourage our scientists, technology, IIT students. They should make it India. Government should support them, finance them, give them soft loan, and so that we can start having a industry which will not only supply the need of the Indian people, but we can export to Bangladesh, we can export to Nepal, we can export to Sri Lanka, we can export to Maldives, Seychelles, Mauritius, all the developing countries, even Myanmar and all these, because they depend on product which are cheaply manufactured, and there is no better country than India because of the we are a liberated community. We can think. We are not like Chinese that we can only do what people tell us. Every Indian has the freedom to think, and that's why we have the IT industry, one of the best IT industry. We have a film industry. We have art and craft because the Indian people can are allowed to think for themselves, and therefore the future belongs to India. Although we are a democracy, the time it will take time for us uh, to implement. We just cannot bulldoze people's houses like Chinese can do, because for us, humanity is paramount. So for our values, Indian values are, this is why you say so many religions,
Yeah.
so many culture, so many languages, so many different races living side by side in India, because we allow people the room to maneuver, room to flourish. We believe in diversity. We believe in peaceful coexistence. We have never attacked any nation. We just don't want to. We want to be a positive force, and we want to look after the emerging democracy as a beacon of hope, as a role model that what India can do, they can do as well. And I think we have a very bright future. We have lessons that have been learned because we were caught uh, surprisingly, because nobody expected this pandemic was so dreadful that it mutate, it spreads. So many things we are learning, and I'm so confident that the lessons have been learned. India will emerge a very, very strong nation indeed because of the infrastructure Modi ji is putting together. We have got road program, we have rail program, border rail, border road, and India is truly going to become a very, very strong nation indeed within next 5 years. And I think we need to really make sure that India gets the support he needs. So on that note, I wish the event every success, and please think about India. Without India, we have no respect, because if India has no respect, your mother has no respect, you have no respect. That simple as that. So everything which, and no supernatural power is going to come to strengthen India, to promote India. India will be promoted by people like, we have the leader we had, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, all those people who sacrificed for their mother India. So we owe it to them to make India worthy of their dream. And I think we are on the right track with the
Yeah.
government got at the moment. So I thank you very much and wish India every success. And and I'm very optimistic. Within my lifetime, we will be a superpower.
I wish, Lord, you will just half an hour will accompany with us just to listen to all the panelists, because I know just you have the running of time. So if you'll hear,
I'm
so
here for half an hour. No problem. I'm
so
here.
nice of thank you,
Thank
so
you.
nice of you. So that's right. So we have other panelists. Mr. Ranjit Kumar is the eminent foreign affairs expert from India and editor of the papers and the work for the Times of India group. And we have Rakesh Tiwari ji, editor in chief from the Hindu Times group from Canada. We have Nilanka Jayasuriya from Colombo, Sri Lanka. She is a very active senior journalist from Sri Lanka, work for the many papers and keep an eye on the current affairs. And we have Anita Chaudhary from India. She is a political analyst. And we have Alok Lahad, senior journalist and social activist from the Spain. And we have Dr. R.P. Bhatt. He is a head of the Indology at the University of Hamburg. And although keen on keep on the eye in the India development, in your German development. Germany is a part of G7, and he is also head of Indology and keep an eye in the Indo-German affairs. And I think two more panelists will about to come. So now I'll take about the agenda and the prospect from Ranjit Kumarji. Just how you think this event of the G7 summit in London, how we take the how the what the highlights just you the development and the output from this event. Ranjit ji.
Am I?
Yeah, please.
Are you asking me,
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Rakesh ji?
Yeah, Ranjit ji, just here, just you can go.
Yeah. Thank you, Rakesh ji, for inviting
Yes,
me.
please.
Regarding this G7 summit, I would like to say that it was a landmark summit. It will set the course for new geopolitical equations in the days to come. You see, during this G7 summit, all the most powerful democratic countries of the world, most industrialized countries of the world have come together with a strong voice against China. Never before this has been done like this. During the previous G7 summits, the G7 leaders never openly dared to speak against China, but during this summit hosted by United Kingdom, all the seven leaders came out strongly against the acts and behavior of Chinese government, Chinese leaders all around the world, their economic expansionism, their strategic expansionism, their aggressive behavior all around were noticed during the summit. Even inside China, the violations of human rights, the violation of democratic values in Xinjiang, in Hong Kong, and also in South China Sea, their expansionist behavior. All these issues were taken note of by the G7 leaders. And one of the most important outcome of this G7 summit was the announcement of a very grand infrastructure plan called Build Better and Build Back and Better and World 3VW. This will rival the China's Belt and Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative through this grand scheme, China used to expand its influence all over the earth. But now the G7 leaders, through the Build Back Better World scheme, B3W scheme, they intend to challenge Chinese Belt and Road Initiative schemes all around the world. China has been expanding its influence through these BRI projects by building roads and connectivity projects. So this G7 summit has come out strongly against China's expansionist behavior and came out with a strong plan to counter Chinese aggressive behavior all around the world. And I think this should be enough for the opening remarks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Ranjit, thank you. Just you have mentioned about the just development agenda, how just Lord Rami Ranger the host of the G7 summit, mentioned about the India should be the permanent member of G7 group. And last, if you see the history of the G7, it was previously called the G8. But by some regions, Russia was also member, and Russia was suspended to the many regions from the G7 and G8. So now it's called the G7 group. All the developed countries are the members, and I think this time, I think Manmohan Singh attended many times, and I think second time Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended this meeting. So Dr. R.P. Bhatt from Germany. So I think as a member of G7, so just you can highlight some issue how this G7 meetings went on, and with just a cornering China. As Lord Ramiranger also mentioned about the very hard way, the harsh way to just to corner China, how to make the build up. We should build a strong for the India and UK and otherwise. So this is a new equation developed within the G7 countries also. So how do you analyze this all summit regarding India as well as Corona?
Yeah, greetings to everyone. Thanks, Kumarji. Yes, I think, of course, it's due, in fact, that the West would come together, and especially the United States of America initiate something like this, because without that, I think things were going other way around, and China was becoming kind of much more powerful than, of course, needed in some way or the other. It has been already mentioned about just that project, what and how they are implementing their programs, not only in some of European countries, especially in Italy. You must have read about it, that Italy is going to review this, I think, their agreements with China, and especially in Africa, and then, of course, the neighbor country of India. So keeping in view that is one thing. And the other issue, what I feel very strongly is about, of course, Europe can't remain secluded anymore, because it's a global age, and if you just keep in mind the problem of the refugees and others, they are coming, and of course they have to protect them also and themselves as well. And for that, of course, they need some other powers, other countries. And India is, of course, the best, I think, country, best nations, because India is a democracy. India is not a new democracy, but from its own ethos and culture itself. And India doesn't have any record that can be said that European Union or America would not accept. So I think, of course, these are few things, but allowing or announcing 870 million doses of COVID anti-doses, for the developing world, and what they call a swollen lender. This is marvelous, because this will help people to work together, and then it won't remain just for one country or two country, or just Europe or America, because this is not working. In fact, we have seen it, that any something happening in Africa, it comes to England, or something happens in India, it comes to England, something happens in England, and it spreads all over. So of course they have to work together, and I think this was one of the most fruitful meeting, at least finally, I think, because the scholarly world was looking for this, I think, and it is very much welcome, I think.
Okay. So Professor R.B. Bhatt, just you mentioned about about how the development going on, but there's also mentioned how the Angela Merkel for the election, view on the election, and how the election is going or not. That is also a matter of concern. So I'll take the input from the G7 member. So after that, I'll take Alok Lahadji and Mafi Iris just going to join from Italy, and Anita ji and Nilanka ji. So just Rakesh Tiwari ji, how this Canada behaved in G7 summit, and about the China one, very interesting. If you have gone through the agenda and the development in the meeting, so that is your prime minister. He's also friend also, Justin Trudeau. So how just he reacted? How was he this reaction in the meeting regarding China? They say this India, China, and Canada.
Well, thank you so much, Kumar Rakesh ji, and greetings to all the panelists. Canada has been part of G7 from the beginning. Let me
Yeah.
say this, okay, and it will remain for sure. Uh, and so Canada is
But
not
but
only
but
part of.
but Indian Canadian, as I support the statement of Lord, and you should support the statement of Lord Rami Ranger. We should advocate India should be permanent member as he initiated, and we are all with him. Just support the
Yeah,
India should be
let,
the permanent
let,
member of
let me
G7.
say, let me say
Please,
here now.
please, please.
Part of me is Indo and Canadian as well, both. So
Yeah, yeah,
but I'll bring it together. I
yeah.
will, I will say one thing, and just briefing it that how the Western world, be it, all the Western countries, even after the 10 Man Square, and how China was given the preferences, all the American president and the business and everything was going all well till recently. Now,
Okay.
coming back to, definitely, I will say, that India should be part of G8 and every other place, be it Security Council, be it G8, G7 to G8, okay, or G9, G10, whatever could be. India should be part of it. Without India, you cannot think of it any such kind of organization. So it is in the world's interest, it is in the interest of G7, it is the interest of a Security Council. India should be there because of its population, because of its ethos, culture, all those things. Now, coming back to, I will say that the flip flop from the Western countries has brought the situation to the worst now. A few, just recently, I'll tell you that today's news is this: the NATO has won the China, and said it. Okay, said it. NATO's head has mentioned it very clearly that China alone's power is very close to NATO. One country close to the NATO. NATO means all these countries coming together. Now, so world is not going to be same. We are looking at the different kind of conflict as it was in the First World War, as it was in the Second World War. China with Russia, with other countries too. So the conflict is going more, and I'm glad with that part. This part, that at least the world powers are recognizing it, that they had created Bhasmasur, helped him. Now it is coming for them.
So I think your point is so different in the social and international perspective. So that's a
So
nice one.
I
Now,
meant by Corona too. I meant by Corona too, because the Corona is created by us. As it is getting established there. So that's the reason
okay.
behind it. That which world has not recognized before. India was always somewhere second, third, fourth. China was always given preference.
Okay. I think some network.
Everywhere else.
I think Tiwari ji, some network problem is there. So I just recently, Ms. Mafi, they have those just joined, and I think some network problem is there. So I'll take input of the Corona in Sri Lanka. Madam Nilanka Surya is very senior journalist from the Colombo, and she has been covered a lot, more than 30 years. She has been writing for so many publications, social activist also. So just to say, what is the status of Corona now and in Sri Lanka? Because regarding to G7 summit, all the G7 countries also focused on the Corona pandemic, and vaccination also. So what is the status of the Corona and as well as the vaccination?
Good evening to everybody.
Yeah.
According to the epidemiology unit of the Health Ministry,
Little louder, madam.
2,300
Yeah, thank you.
2,354 COVID-19 cases were reported on June 30th, Sunday. Uh, Among the positive cases identified on 13th of June, 2,329 were from the New Year COVID-19 cluster and 32 foreign arrivals currently in quarantine. According to the epidemiology unit report by 13th Sunday evening, a total of 223,338 COVID-19 cases have been reported and 32,955 infected patients are being treated at hospitals. So far, a total number of 4,259,385 people have received their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 509,998 have received the second dose. The death toll from COVID has now reached to 2,203 in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
So how the vaccination drive is going on? All the Sri Lanka vaccinations complete or it's going on?
No, still it's going on.
Okay. So nice. Just I think all countries are coming out from this special uh, uh, disease for the world and the global. So nice. Just Mafi joined from the Italy. Dr. Desa Mafi Devdas is a postgraduate for United Nations Inter-Regional Crime and Justice Research Institute, and she's an advocate with practice in High Courts and Supreme Court of India also, as well as, and she is editor of the International Legal Magazine and now living in Italy. I think very soon she may be Italian. So Italy is a part of actually G7 and a prominent country, always just trying to dictate the terms. So I'm now living in Italy many years. Just how you analyze the situation of the corona now Italy, because Italy was that time the second country of the China who affected corona like anything. And we are happy just to see you. You are just saved and you're saving so many lives in Italy. So how just you analyze the G7 summit with corona and India and Italy? Mafi.
Pleasure to be part of this, Mr. Rakesh. Thank you for having me. And ciao,
So nice.
like they say in Italy, to everybody and all the other panelists. Like you rightly pointed it out, Italy was hard hit last year, this time around, and it was battling with this unseen virus. But thankfully, the battle has subsided with the mission to vaccinate more than 50%. Italy has succeeded in vaccinating more than 50%, and by September they intend to vaccinate almost 80%. Overall, I personally think, because I had the first-hand experience of being part of the worst hit phase myself, I believe that Italy handled it so very well. And it is not just the fact that the government played a responsible role in protecting the citizens of Italy and also the people in Italy, but I think the people and the citizens were equally responsible, abiding to the rules and regulations and the curfews and lockdowns very diligently. And I think this actually played a major role in transforming it from a worst hit country to one that is almost saved itself from the virus, I would say.
So nice. Just you place your view from the Italy on how just the Italy reacted in G7 meeting. That's the matter of the other question. So I'll take the now expert coming from Alok Laharji from the Spain. So how Alok Laharji, what is your inputs and intake for this G7 very important meeting? as well as for Corona and China with India reference.
Thank you so much. I think this G7 meeting was essential. And what President Trump started off that he wanted to expand G7 to G10 or something even bigger, that was a very nice step. And I'm happy that they are continuing in the same direction. Now, we have to keep in mind that the summit right now it is based on three C's, which is Corona, climate, and China. Now, I think climate has taken a back seat anyway, but France and India, France had appreciated very much the work which has been done by India. But to think about COVID and China, like it is synonymous in a way, although we cannot call it like that because of WHO's guidelines. I have a very philosophical kind of viewpoint on this. Like in India, we have the Arthashastra, which kind of demarcates our foreign policy. The Chinese also have this book, which is about 200 years older. It is not so extensive, called The Art of War. It was written by a gentleman, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. He was called, in my head, Tatsu or something like this. And their whole policy is based on this. And by the time we were fighting Corona and we were fighting amongst each other to sell vaccines, the relationship and the control the Chinese had over WHO. In the meantime, and it's a country which did not have a background, let's say like UK had or US had or India had, of making medicines. Suddenly in this period, China has taken over almost all the countries put together, and they have kind of become the king of the vaccines in this period. Like I might amaze you by telling you that right now in China, there are more than 44 vaccines which are being developed. 2 are already, they have been approved. Sorry, 6 have already been approved by WHO. And not only this, they have established themselves, like these vaccines are now available in 60 countries. Which means that within no time, China has already become the #1 vaccine supplier in the world, something which USA, UK, or India were looking at. And their production, I was just checking the numbers. India can produce around 12.5 million doses every day, but China's capacity today is about double. We talked about Modi ji's vaccine diplomacy. It was in the period when India was not so much affected. But right now, what China is doing, it is producing double the amount of what India can produce, which is world's largest vaccine manufacturer. They're keeping 50% for their own country, and they are supplying 50% of these vaccines to the rest of the world. Now, what has happened is that by the time Pfizer was fighting to sell its vaccine to India or the rest of the world, in Europe, they were like fighting amongst each other, like who's going to get the vaccine first. The Brits said, like, we are going to keep it for ourselves. In this whole time, China has established itself as the #1 vaccine producer in the world. Now that has toppled the West and the world's biggest democracies, which includes India. Now, in a situation like this, and why I mentioned you the book of The Art of War, is because it very clearly says that you should win a war even without fighting it. Now, that is exactly what they've done. The biggest mistake of G7 was taking out Russia. Now, after taking out Russia from G8, it became G7. Now, Russia, for its own survival, and because of the boycott it is suffering by the European democracies, it has aligned itself with China, which is a very dangerous game plan. Now it has become imperative because how do you stop China now? Tiwari ji said, like, you have created a monster which you don't know how to handle. Now the only thing they can think of, and India being a democracy is going to play in line with the rest of the democracies, be it Japan or Canada or United States or UK. I think the philosophically we are on one page, but the benefit China has it politically, economically, and let's say strategically, they are on the same line. Whereas
Okay.
G7 or G8, we are fighting amongst these for our own benefits and for our own. We don't have a strategy. Like we're just still groping in the dark. So China definitely has a step ahead of us. They have conquered the market, which everybody was thinking the pharmaceutical companies are going to make millions and America is going to make millions, and that thing is gone now. Like they've already conquered 60 countries. But that 60 countries giving vaccine doesn't mean that it is only vaccine. We talked about railroads and the roads which are being built. The only difference is that China gives money to them as loan. Like, for example, the case of Pakistan, so that they can send their own produce to all these countries. So they are thinking a lot ahead. And if you go through this book, you'll find this that it very clearly says that you should look far when everybody is looking close. So I think their strategy is controlled by this Arthashastra of China, the art of war. And we suddenly have got up and we said, now we have to do something, we have to expand it and all that. And I don't think after 2 or 3 days, we are still on the same page. No decisions have been taken. So G7 for me, as it stands now, is a paper tiger, which is doing a lot of talking, but there is no real work being done on the ground.
Okay, Alok,
I think
just
China has
you're
taken us over,
no,
and
you
we need
raised
to
very
do
well,
something
very,
very
very.
fast so that we can stop it.
No, you raised a very valid question. This is a paper tiger. What is the actual ground? It is going on. How it will happen? How it should be? What should not? But whatever you mentioned, the art of war, the book of the China, I think everybody knows how China is playing, and I think most of the panelists will not agree with the vaccine production in China and for the other countries. So I think that China has lost the credibility in the world. Whatever is product is there, and
China has
how
lost the
just made.
credibility in the Western and the democratic world. Look at the
Yeah,
other. Like by the time our own vaccines have not even been approved by United States of America. By this time, they were already checking their vaccines in countries like Mexico, Peru, Argentina, and even in Pakistan.
so
So the
yo,
range of the vaccine they're
yeah,
checking it out
yeah.
is so wide that even Pfizer,
Even
which
to
is
the
considered the
African
number one
countries.
vaccine,
So
or
I'll take inputs from
AstraZeneca,
the
it is not
Anita ji.
matching them.
I'll take input from Anita Chaudhary. How just in the discussion in the Corona G7 summit in India, how China reacted. Number one, why reacted? Everybody knows. So how the India's go ahead with the agenda of G7 for just to fight the Corona globally? How do you analyze?
Look, yeah, I think India will play as a India role will be as a catalyst in this G7 strategy, because if you will see the first meeting of G7 on this Corona and China, they are taking up China from 5 front, and they are the strategy also for B3W, that is build up a better build back better world. That is that is to counter BRI, that is the Border Road Initiative of China. We all know that China has invited so many times for this meeting, BRI meeting, to India also, but India has refused all the time. India don't want to be the part of the BRI because India knows that we are talking about the China-Pakistan uh, economic corridor, and if we will, we will, we will be the part of the. It means we are accepting that that corridor also, and that theory also. But the thing is that what will be the role of China and how the G7 will counter China. The thing is that G7 countries are saying so many things that they have questioned China on Uyghur Muslims also in Xinjiang area. They have questioned China for their non-marketing policy of
Yeah.
economics also. They have questioned China for COVID and the role of China, how the China has played, and why China is restricting for all the access when the investigating team of WHO or any other investigating team goes to all the access. Why China is not getting ready for that? So many questions has they have arose, but the kind is that how many pressure, how they will build up the pressure that China will agree for all these things.
Okay.
Because China has its own strategy. When China, we have to understand that
But Anita ji,
China has put all the world in a
parallel,
bilateral war.
yeah.
We are in a bilateral battle.
Parallelly, the G7 summit also discussion about so many good things also, and the discussion also. I'll take input from Lord Rami Ranger, just the host country at the G7 summit, how the UK as a responsible lord of the country, so how the UK reacted and how should react China, as just you mentioned in your thoughts. Unmute, please. Unmute yourself.
We already heard from President Biden that China is giving them a huge concern. The policy of China expanding into Africa, into developing country, giving them soft loan, and then taking charge of their properties when they cannot pay is causing a lot of concern because Chinese diplomacy is full of danger for these countries. You have seen what happened in Sri Lanka. They've taken the lease of 99-year lease of the port, which they helped develop. They also taken the lease of the Gwadar port. It's now Chinese naval base. So therefore, wherever in Africa Chinese are going, Chinese the manager, they treat African worker very, very badly. There's a video, one or two video gone viral because the Chinese are mechanical people. You know, they are not like you and me with feelings and concern. They are brought up in such a regimental style. You know, they take away their children when they're born. They don't see them for years and years. They have no emotional attachment with their children, their families, like we have. We live and die for our families and children. So therefore, you cannot compare apple with pear. Chinese are totally made inhumane. That is why you saw the way they were attacking our soldiers in the border with sticks and knife. And the time was, it was agreed that that's a demilitarized zone. Nobody will carry arms. But did you see the arm they used? They had barbed wire on the sticks with which they beat up our soldiers. So these are the type of cruel people we are dealing with. So therefore, I am asking my government in India and in the UK that doing trade with a country which systematically undermines our way, democracy, rule of law, our values. We cannot continue, business cannot be as usual. We have already seen when the pandemic first
Yeah,
started,
you're
for
right.
3 weeks, Chinese did not tell the world what has happened. They tried
But
to cover it up, but they
but
could
Lord,
not cover up.
Lord Ravi, my question is how? What is the official line of UK regarding
The
China?
official line of UK is very strict. They are talking to China, and quite a few of the member of parliament are very vocal. They have raised questions in parliament, especially about the treatment of Uyghur Muslims who have been put in concentration camp, and they have been really treated inhumanely. So therefore, there are Muslim members of parliament in United Kingdom. They have raised this question and they have embarrassed the government, and the Chinese government has banned them from entering China. That is the type of government we are dealing with. And the British Foreign Secretary has time and time again has condemned the way China is behaving in Hong Kong, and the way they are taking away the liberties of people of Hong Kong. The British have allowed 250,000 citizens of Hong Kong the right to come to United Kingdom because those people aspire to be British. They want to adopt British. They have been living by the British values. So therefore, it's a very big problem China is causing throughout the world, even in Africa. It's not a good force. I can tell you the consequences of China's strength for the world, the economic strength, will be a disaster for the free world. And so,
Yeah.
therefore, the time has come for the whole free world to unite and to do trade with those countries who share your values. By doing business with China, we are in fact creating a monster even more powerful than it already is. So therefore, I urge you people from your that you have to encourage Indian industrialists that they have to start manufacturing you in
So
India. We
for
should be
that, you have
so
to talk with
capital.
our prime minister as a responsible. You're citizen, as just you think as an Indian. You like persons who talk with the prime minister and the just for CIE and other front, so they can do it. So Ranjit Kumarji, just how you analyze the China role in the G7 summit and how they are going to react now, Ranjit ji.
Yes, Rakesh ji, from India's point of view, the outcome of the summit was very much positive because you see, China was the elephant in the room during the summit. All the summit leaders spoke directly or indirectly against the behavior of China, and that was a very favorable thing for India. Any pressure coming on China at this time when China is acting aggressively against India will help India fight China better diplomatically. So that's a very good development for India. China was reminded of its democratic lack of democracy and lack of human rights in its states like Xinjiang, states like Hong Kong. So the outcome for of this G7 summit was very much anti-China. It was putting pressure on China to behave properly, and China naturally got up after these declarations and joint statements, and the Chinese government reacted very adversely against the G7 declarations and statements.
Dr. R.P. Bhatt, how the just Germany just reacted and all are united on the resolution how the G7 meet about the China.
Well, I mean, of course, it's probably not so easy because the relationship of China and Germany is pretty long since 1861, and especially on, if you look at the trade volume between these two countries, in 2020 it was, if I'm correct, 220 billion, euros trade volume between both of these countries. So, but still, there have been a number of stories being run by different newspapers, especially Deutsche Welle and so on. So they describe the relationship not so easy anymore. So of course, yeah, our foreign minister has criticized China because of Hong Kong, and in some other
Yeah.
issues, So of course, I think Germany will, of course, stick to EU, and I think European Union or G7. So it's a part and parcel of G7, and they will work together. This is what I understand.
So I think it seems the dilemma between all the countries between the bilateral relation with China, but China is now already uh, impact and just share on the different countries on the business volume and trade. So Rakesh Tiwari ji, just your Canada is also going up and down the relationship with the India and China. So how now in the new phases, how the Canada is behaving?
Well, let me say this: Canada already is in a you can say in a tussle with China since Huawei's CFO, Chief Financial Officer, has been detained in Canada since and China has also I will not say kidnapped, but they are also holding two Canadians and having them in their prison. Now, coming back to this, I will say this: all the fellow panelists, and we are all speaking in a kind of one voice. The danger of China, which is coming to, and G7 also, which just happened, also has the same point over there. And I would like to mention that Mr. Alok Lal, he has mentioned that we should take this more seriously. when the NATO's president, which is made out of 30 countries, and is saying that China alone got the power, close to or around NATO, this is more serious. We are already raising the concern about the coronavirus, which was, coming from the lab. So all the points are over there. So we are in a different zone together. I think I can't hear you.
Tiwari,
Yeah.
Tiwari, my question is direct one. Just the relationship with the China in this pandemic uh, time, how just Canada reacted, and everybody knows how the virus is spread
Well, let
globally.
me say this: Canada has reacted very positively in that way, and let me say, Justin Trudeau's government was criticized in the beginning because when this outbreak happened in China, so we send our all the help to China. Let me be the mask, be the other medicine, everything we send the shipment to China, and then the Justin Trudeau government was criticized that you left alone, our own people. So in the beginning, and afterwards, not only that, I was closely following a lot of medicines and a lot of masks and other other medical kits. When we were getting it from China, we have to return it because they had a problem. They were not properly done. So let me say one thing: wherever US will go, 95% Canada will follow.
No,
Just please,
okay,
please.
no, but you replied so diplomatically. Just I just found just whatever I trying to just form you, and now you are properly behaving acute Canadian, and yeah, our subject is
Well,
the
I'm Canadian.
Corona G7 summit and India. So sorry to tell you, no issue, but you are as well by birth Indian, but now the citizenship of Canada, so you should maintain it. So I'll take the Murphy. Just how Italy just relation with China after the pandemic. How do you analyze as just vigilant reader also, and editor also, and advocate also, and the acute just uh, keep an eye
But I
the
couldn't get your comment.
all the.
What's wrong in being Canadian and Indian?
So I think I'm not making comment. I just
What's
you
wrong?
played democratically. No, nothing wrong, nothing
Rakesh
right.
ji always in Kashmakash.
No, no,
Please
no, 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 please,
make your
Anita ji,
line.
Anita ji, please be quiet. So I think Lord has gone. I think he has promised for the half an hour. He
He's
was
there.
about more than.
Lord is
I,
there.
no,
He's
no,
there.
Lord Ravi is not
That's okay.
seeing on the
That's all
panel
right.
now.
We are all here.
Yeah, so no issue. No, actually, just he already promised
So your
for 15 to
diplomatic
20
comment,
minutes.
I couldn't get it. Can you please
No,
specify
we'll
that?
go on that. No, we'll go on that on the in other way. We'll call in the video call and personal way. So our time is very running out. We have not of time, starting time. So actually, just I'll take the Buffy. How just analyze the relationship of China, Italy, and India? Just this your comment on this. After that, I'll take the comment on vaccine. How the Alok Laharji reacted on the vaccines of China and what is the art of war. Please, Mafi. Carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rakesh. Having studied recently on the importance of diplomacy and a product of the United Nations
Yeah.
organ, I strongly believe in a diplomatic relationship amongst countries, cross borders, whatsoever it is. Yes, there are hiccups related to China and its relationship with the rest of the world, especially India. However, I think it's very important to overcome the hurdles that we face and maintain a diplomatic relationship in every possible way. Because I believe that having an organ called the United Nations that seeks to endeavor diplomacy in every forum and at every face, and as a believer of diplomatic relationships, I very much strongly believe that it is important for all countries to have a diplomatic relationship with each other. Um, yes, it can. there can be controversies in every phase and in every spectrum. But however, I think it's very important to maintain a diplomatic relationship, regardless of the hiccups that may arise.
Mafi, so very cunningly and very diplomatically, and what was the cunningly, but very the soft diplomatically, you just follow the line of the Rakesh Tiwari ji. So no issue. Just God bless you. So I'll take I'll take the input from Dr. R.P. Bhatt. So how then after then Alok Lahar ji just mentioned about the book, The Art of War, and the vaccine and the China role. R.P. Dr. R.P.
Yeah,
Bhatt ji.
thanks, Rakesh. I forgot to mention it earlier. I wanted to talk about that. It's a really very important issue indeed. What Laharji mentioned. In fact, if you read the development in China, the Chinese government, I think they implemented this book as a must for their soldiers and everyone else in 2006. And so, of course, there are, this is being read and being taught. But of course, there are few things. One thing is very true, what Laharji said, that they strike, their strategy is to strike where you are weak. So they won't go, straightly, but they prepare themselves and strike your weakest point if you are not prepared. But there is another issue. If you read this, I think it was first chapter of this book, and it says the people must be in harmony with their leaders so that they will accompany them in life and unto death without fear of moral peril. So this is not going to happen in China. I think not all Chinese follow this, and it is also not being followed, although by Chinese, those who are living outside of China. And they will have their problems, definitely, because the young Chinese, they want to have freedom. They want to have, they don't want to live in such kind of conditions. This is where you are being, watched at every step. So this is what I believe. But of course, this also has been used. Some of these methodologies or strategies have been used by some of Western countries in the past. About the vaccine, I believe the issue of trust is very much there. Even the people from Pakistan, there are a lot of interviews going on. Pakistan, Afghanistan, Africa, wherever you see, people don't trust the Chinese material anymore. People are very skeptical about this. So I think no matter how much and how many vaccines they produce and whatever they sell, they may be able to sell, but people are not trusting it. This is the fact. And I think still the Western vaccine or Indian vaccine will be preferred, and that is going to win. This is my belief and my assessment. Thanks.
Alok Lahar ji. Now you got time now.
I would like to say something too. Yeah, go ahead.
No, after Alok Lahar ji, then you will speak, and I'll also take Vanita Chaudhary ji. Very interesting. Just he initiated the topics, Alok Lahar ji. I'll also take the Ranjit ji. Actually, running out of time, we have only the 6 minute max. We have just so we'll take the time also. Very briefly, Alok ji.
Was in lead. We are no more. There was a phase when it was not the Cold War era. Then that was bipolarized the power. Then it became unipolarized. Everybody was looking at the United States. I personally feel that United States is losing that lead because they have been sleeping all this time.
Actually, so Vandana is not today. Actually, she has some appointment with the doctors. So USA representative is missing right now.
Okay.
USA, please carry on. Please carry on. Please carry on.
I think they are losing the lead. In case the United States wants to maintain that lead, then it has to actually go and take the lead. Like, for example, what happened? USA was the number one contributor to WHO. They stopped their contribution, which was a very bold step, but it went wrong. Why? Because China, which was paying less than, let's say, Germany or even India, suddenly hiked up their contribution to WHO, and they made the best out of WHO. So right now, WHO, like we've talked in other programs also, like they are working as puppets of China. So their penetration world over and their influence world over, be it by giving free or giving any kind of financial aids or whatever, they are taking the lead right now. They are more proactive than the rest of the world is. Now, what I'm looking for, like, suddenly they've woken up, which is very nice. Everybody knows that the only solution which is available to the rest of the democratic world is India, and we also share border with China. But who created China? It was the only Western world created China. So now they have to rethink and undo what they've already done and reinvest in India. Only then they'll be able to maintain, or the democratic world will be able to
I think
maintain their
look, actually you are heading the very long discussion, the role of China, because we are talking about G7 now. So
I'm
I
very
just
deep
request,
only. So for
yeah,
India, it is very nice. They have taken control of
I
India's
okay.
existence.
I agree with your inputs. So I request Madam Nilanka, can you something add the role of China and Sri Lanka, the relationship between the Sri Lanka and China? How do you analyze it? You are listening patiently to all the debates. So I just I need to answer from you how the relationship of the
I
Sri
think
Lanka China.
Sri Lanka has built up a relationship with China, and now we can see if you know that about the port city, right? Has given to the China, and there are many. I think Chinese. There are many places Chinese is going to develop, and they are going to build. There are some hotels, and there are so many economic. We are going to do
Activities.
economical things in Sri Lanka, and also that Sri Lanka has imported Chinese vaccine also, and I think China is having a good relationship with Sri
I do
Lanka.
agree.
As
Yeah,
I think,
I do agree. So
and
this is news
also
for us that some countries importing the China vaccine. So very interesting. So I'll take Anita ji. This is a actually we are just heard that China vaccine is banned so by so many countries, and we have whatever with that vaccine diplomacy. India has done the very nicely. So how do you just analyze this Corona G7 meet India and China? Very briefly.
If you will talk about the vaccine diplomacy, China is trying to pitch up its vaccine on World Forum, but many countries has denied. There are lots of problem in Chinese vaccine. It's not uh, up to mark. Just only Pakistan and some other countries they are recognizing Chinese vaccine, and they are going with that. Because in fact, Pakistan has come up with the Chinese vaccine with new packaging, Pak vac. Pakistan has not developed its own vaccine. It's a Chinese vaccine, and Pakistan has packaged that as a Pak bag. So this is the policy of China. China has started with when it's come up with the idea of Corona. The idea behind that the China wants to be the world power in concern of the economy and other things. But it has bounced back to China. It has bounced back to China, and now that the world has denied China, world has now started
I
lobbying
think
against China,
okay,
and
story is
and
different
now
now. Story is
the
different now.
world is now with India. Now world is considering Indian vaccine. World is with India. World is believing in Indian diplomacy. World is believing on humanity of India. The Vasudeva Kutumbakam is now proven that India believe on all these things. India is a peaceful country, and China, the the idea of China is very cruel and very unhuman. So this is the the result that all the G7 countries have talked on all front. Either it's Taiwan, it's Hong Kong, it's Uyghur Muslims,
No,
humanities,
there was
non-marketing
Anita ji.
policies,
There
and
was a resolution just condemned by the China. There
they
was a
passed
resolution
the
about the
resolution. They
Hong
will
Kong
work
and
on
all
that one. But
regarding the
I
Hong
believe
Kong.
that the G7 should concentrate on, because they are moving with the investigation of Corona. When they will do it properly, all the other things automatically resolve. So they should
Okay.
concentrate. They should focus
Tiwari,
on
something
this
want to
issue.
add or something react? Tiwari ji,
Let me say, let me say,
we have
can we-
only
yeah.
have 2 minutes. Why
Oh,
only
sir,
2 minutes?
I'll take 1.5 minutes. Let me say this. With all
No,
due
sir.
respect,
Why have only two
Two and
minutes?
a half,
So,
2.5,
no,
please.
no. Sorry, sir.
give me
Sorry,
30,
sir.
okay, give me 30
20
seconds.
seconds.
Let me
Only
say,
20 seconds. Just finish your
thank you.
inputs, please.
Okay.
Please.
Let me say, with all due respect, can we stop, you know, self blasting ourselves that, okay, we are so good, we are so great, we are. Now, come on. 69 countries in the world, they are taking Chinese vaccine at this moment. We are
And they
undermining
all
China.
are fed up of,
That is no
maximum
problem.
are fed up of that. They have
No,
all the
we are.
complaints. They
Please,
all
Anita
have
ji,
the complaints.
Anita ji, you are
They
again
have
hurting me.
taken.
Don't do that.
They have taken
Please,
and come up with lots of complaints.
Sorry,
Anita ji, you are
sorry.
again
Please,
hurting me.
Rakesh,
No,
please
20
be
seconds.
realistic
no.
and come up with the full
Actually,
knowledge.
no.
Yes,
Tiwari,
the 69
Tiwari ji.
countries, we have sent 97 countries, and only
Let
European
me,
countries have, initially
hello,
they have some
can I
problem, but now they have accepted all this, the
Anita
Covaxin
ji,
and Covishield both.
Anita
Now,
ji,
so please come up with the full knowledge.
no, I'm
Maximum
telling you.
countries have lots of complaint against this on
Anita
this
ji,
Chinese
please
vaccine.
let me have my say.
No,
That's democracy. Otherwise,
I'll
you're
take
going in
from
private
Ranjit ji.
territory.
This
Only
is
you
the
can
last,
speak. I can't
the
speak.
last input.
My point is,
Tiwari ji,
listen.
And this was the
Tiwari
whole.
ji,
Only
Tiwari
67
ji.
countries is taking Chinese vaccine. If China has put up all the world in a corona war, the whole world should be believe on the Chinese vaccine. This is the bounce back to the China. This is only the failure of the China. What they have thought and what is the result. Humanity is sarvopare.
Ranjit ji,
No,
When
Ranjit
it
that's
ji.
not
comes to
right.
human being, it's
Kumar
above
Rakesh ji, you
all.
have to take care. No,
No.
Anita ji, you have
No.
again.
Sorry, Anita ji. Sorry, Rakesh Tiwari ji. Ranjit ji. Just what a final take. How just you the Corona GS summit in India? How just you analyze and visualize in the near future? Ranjit ji.
See, India began very well initially in the vaccine diplomacy. Entire world was having a great praise for India. But when the second wave of corona attacked India, India lost the ground. India had to stop exporting all the vaccines committed to all the neighboring countries, committed to African countries, even European countries. India committed to export to them. But India had to stop all those exports. So India lost the ground, and that created a bad image for India. But now India seems to be recovering with restoring the promises to the world of supplying vaccines to the entire world.
Okay, so nice actually, and thanks to all of you, Dr. Yeah, Lord Rami Ranger and Rakesh Tiwari ji, Mafi Aris and Alok Lahad, Nilanka Soja, Dr. R.P. Bhatt, you just participated in this program of uh, just Corona G7 summit in India. And as we analyzed and we just inputs were there, the role of China should be condemned accordingly against humanity, how China spread coronavirus globally. And what a resolution in the G7 summit that was against China, and whatever fact is there, and Rakesh Tiwari input giving something support of China. I'm not going on that as an
No,
Indian.
I'm not Chinese.
Never. Sorry. You are Chinese or Canadian. Just you have to decide yourself. I'm not going in that.
I have
But
decided
but
already.
but our philosophy, the India philosophy, the Bharat philosophy,
Is the
Vasudev
truth.
Kutumbakam, the world is one. We are the family. We believe in that. We are doing the best, whatever for our neighbors, whatever the others, whatever who needed for this vaccine, just to save the humanity. We have been doing, as we just praise Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, who just invited India for the cause of humanity, and all the G7 country members who just praise India role and the vaccination and the vaccination diplomacy, and as well as we're going ahead with the new agenda, and we advocate the whatever demand and what request and urge from the Lord Rami Ranger, the eminent parliamentarian from the UK. India should be the permanent member of G7 just to go globally, as India was Vishguru, India is, and India will be the Vishguru. So nice of you. You attended this program with all inputs. We'll again meet for some other subject in some region. Thanks to all. Thanks to everybody who attended this Global Governance News TV program. So nice of you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.